is one of the pioneers of modern astronomical trading. I've learned a lot from Norm Winski over the last year or so that he's been joining us. So thank you again, Norm, for being with us today and have this big NFP number. So I know anytime I get an email from you, buddy, and you say, can I be on your show Feb 12th, March 4th, December 8th, that the reason you want to be on is because you're seeing some potentially significant turning points. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Norm likes to go over what his forecast did the previous month before we get into March. Take it away, Norm Winski.
Okay, well, this time I thought I'd skip over the review just so we could get a little more in because there's quite a few things coming up. So I don't know if you did you get the notes?
Power of attorney. I'm giving you power of attorney over your interview.
Alrighty, do you see the notes on the screen?
I can, but they're cut off a little bit on the right-hand side.
How can we fix that? I don't know.
Maybe change the print on it. Okay, so the right-hand side of your notes, and then I saw the S&P chart.
Does that do anything when I move it around like that?
Try the other way. Move it the other way.
How about that way?
No, the other way.
That way.
Keep going. Is that as far as you could go?
That's up to the farthest to the left I can go. I can make it smaller, maybe.
Yeah, try that.
How about that? Does that help?
It's still being cut off on the right. You have a big margin on the left. I'm not sure why.
How about that? Does that help any?
A little better, but still cut off. But why don't you just go ahead and you know, we get most of it, and you could fill in the blanks.
All right, so, maybe on the page, maybe page setup would do it.
Go ahead if you want to try something else. We have
because if I make it any smaller, I won't be able to read it. You know.
Okay, well we have the whole hour, so if you want to work on it before you begin, that's fine.
I don't want to waste. I don't want to waste your time, Dale. So we'll just go ahead.
That never happens when you're on, Norm.
What's that?
That never happens when you're on. Waste of time.
Thank you. All right, so here we go. So coming up here, the weekend, on average, from the point of view of the Earth, Mars changes signs about every 5 weeks. Although I think Mars is starting to slow down because every couple of years it goes into stops and then goes into what's called retrograde, where it looks like it's going backwards from the point of view of the Earth through the rolling motion of the Earth. But generally, on average, about every 5 weeks we go into a different sign with Mars. So it's going into Sagittarius. So that's often a change in trend for the stock market, and specifically Sagittarius has to do with oats, which I just report. I know not many people care about oats, except unless you're a goat or a sheep or something, I guess, right?
Mares eat oats and does eat oats.
There you go.
Lambs eat ivy.
Little lambs eat ivy. There you go. So, and also over the weekend we have a moderately important angle between Jupiter and Uranus, and this has to also Jupiter. Anytime Jupiter is involved, that also is oats. You'll think I'm oats crazy here because a lot of Jupiter stuff happening, and also Virgo, which is soybeans. Quite a few people trade soybeans. And Uranus, which is copper. Copper is very important to watch because copper has a PhD in economics, a good leading indicator for the economy. You know, so we have a possible copper's been moving up here the last several weeks, so you want to watch for a possible top in copper. That's also involving the stock market. Then coming up next week, there's sort of a general pattern here for March, that as we go through March leading up to about the third week of the month, we sort of crescendo into the big fireworks, you know. So as we go along.
So is it near the equinox where all the fireworks are going to happen, and mid-month is a Fed meeting?
Right. Well, we're getting that. I'm just saying there's a general pattern that as we go, things kind of culminate into big fireworks in the third week of the month. Okay. There'll be more things coming along here, but it sort of accelerates as we go, you know. So then next week on the night of the 8th, We have a solar eclipse. A solar eclipse occurs usually twice a year. That's a special kind of new moon where the moon gets between the Earth and the sun and blocks out the sun. And so that's going to happen on the night of Tuesday, the 8th. And typically that doesn't, historically, has not had that much a correlation for the stock market, but it does tend to have an effect on commodities. And this time it's occurring in Pisces, which is the sign for oil. So since the stock market has been sort of oil sensitive lately, this might be the exception to the rule in the stock market. If the oil has a big turn right around that time, then the stock market may also respond. Generally speaking, any kind of new moon or full moon, the lunar sensitive markets tend to be the precious metals and the grains tend to be lunar sensitive. So since this solar eclipse is a lunar a lunar event, then you might want to watch those markets.
I've seen
Coming up,
solar eclipses be important turning points in the dollar before.
there you go, and the currencies I think are also lunar sensitive. That's right.
Okay.
A friend of mine once did a computer study, and he found that the Japanese yen was very lunar sensitive. It returned very nicely with new moons, full moons, that sort of thing.
Okay. I was talking solar eclipse. I've seen dollar turns on solar eclipses.
Okay. Then we also have on the morning of the 9th, we have an important, moderately important angle for with the U.S. chart, which is an important factor for any U.S. financials such as U.S. stocks, T-bonds, and the U.S. dollar. Then we're going to jump ahead till the 16th, which is Fed Day, as you mentioned. And by coincidence, we have Jupiter making an important major 120-degree angle to Pluto. Pluto is the planet for central banking, debt, things of that nature. So that is very apropos, very appropriate for a Fed meeting day. So by coincidence, we got big things happening there right when the Fed is meeting on the 16th. And so you want to watch for, let's see, your markets for that will be cocoa, because Pluto's also cocoa and hogs, and Pluto's in Capricorn, that's coffee. So that, and then Jupiter is involved. There's your in Virgo, that's soybeans, and so we have cocoa, coffee, hogs, oats, soybeans, stocks, and T-bonds. And if the notes are cut off, if the folks will contact me, I will supply. These are basically coming right out of my monthly letter, which I published last Sunday, and so they can get. This is just a minuscule fraction of my. I got a letter that goes close to 40 pages, so this is just a small sampling of what's in my letter. Coming
Great
up
letter,
on.
though.
Thank you. Coming up just after the vernal equinox, we have on the 22nd, the night of the 22nd, we have Jupiter making a 90-degree angle. That's, if you think about these angles, they're all basic harmonics of a circle, 360 degrees in a circle. You divide the circle by 1, 2, 3, 4. You get your basic astrological angles. Divided by 2, you get 180. Divided by 3, you get 120. Divided by 4, you get 90, and so forth. So these are the key angles that cause the big action. So Jupiter's going to be 90 degrees to Saturn, and so that's going to be, let's see, so you want to watch for coffee, oats, soybeans, and stocks. Then, coming up on the morning of the 23rd, and we have the full moon lunar eclipse. You may remember, Dale, that our last lunar eclipse occurred on a Sunday night, September the 27th. There were forecasts back then for the end of the world. Some prophets of doom and gloom. I said that the stock market didn't like lunar eclipses, and within a day we should get a big down. And the next month, on Monday, the stock market gapped down, I think, about 300 Dow points, and that was an important low also. And then we started going up, which I forecasted that we should rally into December, which was what happened.
Is it unusual for a month to have both a solar and lunar eclipse within the same month, or is that not unusual.
Say that again. You were kind of fuzzy there. Do that again.
Is it unusual or not for a month to have both a solar
Oh,
and
that's
a
typical.
lunar
Yeah,
and a
we're in
lunar eclipse?
twice a year. You're in the eclipse season. It's a half of 49 weeks. So every what is that? 29, yeah, 26, 27 weeks. Every 27 weeks, you're in the eclipse season. So it's twice a year, and then you have usually a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse but within about the same month.
Okay,
About
so they happen together quite.
they happen
That's
they happen in pairs, right?
okay. Beautiful. Thank you. I learned something new.
Okay, so the stock market doesn't like lunar eclipses. I went back and researched this. This is back. First did this research back in the 80s. Went back, I don't know, 30, 40 years or more, and found that 75% of the time, within one trading day of a lunar eclipse, the stock market would typically drop about 1.75%. Somewhere in the range of 1.5 to 2% within one trading day of a lunar eclipse.
Okay,
So you
so
can,
interesting, Norm, that we have this date coming up and the track record of lunar eclipses. I know that a lot of your dates can be good. The trades could be good for 24, 48 hours. Some of them even longer lasting. I've seen some of your turning points last for weeks and months. Just from your belief system, we had the big worst start in equities and in history. And since then, we're about 61.8 back. We're heading back into resistance in the S&P and Dow. What's your gut feeling about this turning point on the 23rd? That it's going to be a trade or a position that eventually takes out the lows that we had in February?
all right. Well, the lunar eclipse is usually rather, unless there's something else involved, which there is now. Let me go one step at a time here. So the lunar eclipse is usually specific to 1 or 2 days. You get a big whack, and then you have to look at ahead. It's a kind of a short-term effect. But what's also happening, I promised you a big crescendo here into the third week of the month. And so on the night of the 24th, that's the next day. By the way, Friday the 25th, we're closed for a holiday. We have a 3-day weekend. And so but the night of the 24th, over that weekend, Saturn will be turning retrograde. You may remember one of my favorite things is what's called station points. Due to the relative motion of the Earth, if you were to plot the planets every night, go out and plot the planets, you would notice that it appears, there's your operative word here, it appears that the planets at certain points look like they stop their motion and then reverse the direction. This is going to happen for Saturn. Saturn is an outer planet. Those are your big, slow moving planets from Jupiter on out. Those that tend to be the most powerful. And so I'm expecting a big change in trend there. There's a pattern to these, and that is that not only can you get a change in trend in the market, these often occur at or near within one trading day of the high or the low of the month. Since we got the big whack right after with the lunar eclipse, like the day before due, then I'm going to stick my neck out here and say that we could be a good chance that we're going to be at the low of the month, right around the 23rd to the 24th of the month.
The low of the month in the S&Ps or the
Low of
high?
the month on the S&P. Low of the month, yes, sir.
Okay,
We
interesting. What I read, I don't know if it was Greek or probably Roman mythology, that the planet Saturn they equated with melancholia, which is depression.
yes, sir.
So Saturn's influence is depressive on asset prices on the stock market because of what it symbolizes.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is, with the lunar eclipse whacking the market, then we're typically the pattern on Saturn going retrograde or direct or any of these outer planets. You're usually at or near the high or the low of the month within one trading day. Well, if the market gets whacked on the lunar eclipse, chances are you're not near the high of the month. You're going to be more
Right.
likely to be
Okay.
near the low of the month. You see?
Okay. So it depends on where we're at. If we're going down into this 23rd, 24th, a low, But if we continue higher and the lunar eclipse does not have the same impact and we're going up into this, it could be the high of the month, right?
I would
Because
agree
we
with
don't,
I would
because
I would
we
agree
don't
with that.
know.
I would agree with that, but I think the odds favor that we're going to be near a low.
Good. Okay.
Okay, and then we have the after the close also on the 24th. There's some things involving the U.S. So that's your U.S. stocks, T bonds, and U.S. dollar too. So then that's where that's where the big action is, right around the 22nd to the 24th of the month. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Looking ahead, I already kind of talked about the stock market, so we won't go into all the details. Kind of recap. That's kind of rehashes. The stock market is a big basket of everything. So if anything significant is happening, that's going to affect the stock market. But I will pull up a chart here. Here's the bigger picture on my page 3, where we have the longer term S&P chart, and you can
And
see
the
how we
whole
rallied
chart,
in.
yeah, and the whole chart is showing. The whole chart is showing. So you're looking for the potential of a full-blown retest of last year's highs. Is that what the green line, or that's just a channel line?
The green line is we've been riding this up on the current rally here. Is what the green line is.
Okay. All
But
right.
what this shows is how we had a distribution type pattern here over the past year or so, where we were
Right.
topping out last year. We topped out. I'm sure you remember, Dale, how I nailed the high day for the DJIA on May the 19th.
I do.
And so that shows that, and then that we kind of rolled over here now until this. We just had this rally here. Now we're rallying up to some important resistance here as we speak
Okay.
right now. And I think you mentioned that we're at a 618 retracement level for the S&P
Right.
500, right?
Right.
There you
So
go.
you have, so your lines are showing resistance between 2020 and 2040.
Yes, sir.
So it might be ideal astronomically if we're going up into that resistance into the 23rd, 24th,
Yeah,
or we pull back on the lunar eclipse, and then bottom out and then head up.
could be as low as 2,000. That's the
2000.
one red.
Okay.
You got the one red line there. It's
Okay.
2,000 level. Here's a shorter term S&P where you can see we've kind of had a rising wedge kind of pattern, and the lines are looks like they might be converging here almost immediately in the next day or so. That would indicate some kind of change in trend is due. Moving on ahead here, we got T-bonds coming up. We got a big event coming up on the 16th when the Fed meets. And I'm not saying that because the Fed's meeting there. I'm saying that because Jupiter is making a 120-degree angle to Pluto, and that's a big deal for T-bonds. So I guess Janet Yellen read the stars there and decided to have a Fed meeting then,
Yeah.
And after and that weekend too, we also have from the point of view of the sun, that's Helio, Mars enters Scorpio. Scorpio is the ruling sign for T-bonds. So there we have a couple of important things happening, converging there right around the 17th, plus or minus a day, for T-bonds. Okay. Moving on ahead. Here's your U.S. dollar. It's up until yesterday was in a nice uptrend channel. It's kind of broken that channel now. You had a little violation of the channel here. Still kind of in an uptrend, but now it's getting a little shaky as to the uptrend, because it's broken the uptrend line.
Interesting.
So we have some dates coming up here. Let's see, where's my dates? Did they get cut off? Oh yeah, the big date for the dollar. Next big date for the dollar is the after the close of the 24th. So over that 3-day weekend,
Everything's brewing then.
Right, everything's happening right around that date, that window.
Okay.
That's when we get the heat big medicine. That's the technical term, heat big medicine.
Good one, Liz.
Moving ahead, here's your crude oil. And since everybody's watching crude oil lately, I thought I'd throw that in. And plus, we have the solar eclipse in Pisces. Pisces is the sign for crude oil. And so our next big date coming up for crude oil is on Monday the 7th and then the 9th, so right around the solar eclipse. Then the 14th and 21, 21, 22. There's your big crude oil dates. Crude oil is kind of trading up into a wedgie kind of pattern too, and those lines are converging here, probably within about one trading day. So coming up here, that would also confirm the chart pattern, confirms that Monday is a possible change in trend day for crude oil. Moving on ahead, I always like to throw in some currency stuff for you, Dale. And so on my page 7, we have the Aussie dollar, and I got a change in trend date due for Monday the 7th. So the dollar, the Aussie dollar, on this is probably upside down for your people because I'm doing futures. And so on the Aussie dollar futures versus the dollar, U.S. dollar, we have the U.S. Aussie dollar has been rallying sharply, and it broke out of its uptrend channel yesterday. But it may that rally might unless we get a sharp pullback today, we might be setting up for some kind of a little trading top on Monday. The next big date after that is the 14th, and then you go all the way to the end of the month.
Great recap and some important things to be paying attention to. Thanks for showing us some charts today, Norm. And
my pleasure.
So how can we stay in touch with you? And
that's great. Let's talk about how they can get free stuff. All right. So they can get my letter for free.
Okay, if it's free, it's me.
There you go. So it's all free with the money back guarantee, right, Dale?
Yep.
So
I know that you've had maybe one or two people from Lara that have signed up with you, and I heard good things about it, and a lot of people interested, still on the fence, huh?
Okay. Well, so you get my letter for free. I cover 30 markets. Also, you get there's a 3-hour class that goes with the letter, and we go through there, and you're going to get a virtual college education, trading education in about 3 hours. We're going to cover some astro, some advanced Fibonacci, you get a crash course in Gann, and all kinds of different things. And the history of the markets, manias, panics. We talk about all kinds of different things, and that goes with the letter. And so you can contact me and get this all free, individual class, and one-to-one. And just contact Norm. That's me. Here's my email, nwinski@embarkmail.com. Can you see the email address, Dale, on the screen?
All your info is there. nwinsky@embarkmail.com. Skype is norm.winsky. Telephone number 239-594-3939. Website, as I said at the beginning of the interview, www.astro-trend.com.
All right, best thing just to go directly to my email or my Skype or call me, because I think there might be some out-of-date information on my website. I hardly ever use the website. It's just there to have a presence on the internet,
Okay, it's your billboard.
I think there's a email on there that might be a problem email. This is the correct email for now, nwinsky@embarkmail.com.
Okay, buddy. Well, thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, Dale. Hope everybody has a great day and a great week ahead, and looking forward to helping a lot of your folks.
I encourage people.
Just in case some of your new people are wondering who in the heck is this Norm guy. I got over 40 years experience. I'm a former, as you are, Dale, former Chicago floor trader, and I traded on the CBOE and the Board of Trade, and so I got a little bit of experience, and been studying the markets all this time, and sort of dedicated my entire adult life to being able to forecast the markets.
Definitely someone that you could learn from in this type of discipline, and Norm has all the basics that he ties into these planetary fractals. Norm covers it all. I encourage anyone who wants a more in-depth knowledge of how the universe works and how it applies to markets to give Norm a shot and at least take his free newsletter to whet your appetite.
Thank you very much, Dale. That was great. Looking forward to helping some of your folks. Everybody have a great day and a great week ahead.
All right, have
Have
a
a great
great
week.
March, Norm. Thanks so much for coming on again.
You
Good
betcha.
hunting,
You
my
take,
good
take
hunting,
care.
my trading warrior brother. And you know what, Norm? I still trade on the floor, at times in a fetal position.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Thank you
You
so
take care.
much, buddy. All right, Norm. That's
Thanks a
Norm
lot. Take
Winski,
care.
everyone. How about a thank you? How about a thank you for Norm Winski? And how about give me a why if anyone already subscribes to Norm's work or has contacted Norm? It's okay, Rick, if you missed it, it's recorded.